Good morning and welcome to another If You Don't Mind. Our special guest has not arrived yet, so I do apologize. He is going to talk about, financial literacy, but I want to get into it briefly. But before I get into it, I want to invite you to Three Mass, which is located on Colonial Drive on Friday evening from 6 to 8 p.m. It is now for men only, and it's going to talk about financial literacy. And Gary Moses is going to be able to really go in depth the value of a dollar. Why is it important? And I know a lot of people think that at this time you can't save money, you can't do this, but you can. You must learn to pay yourself. A couple of years ago, I took a course on financial literacy, and Dave Ramsey was there teaching that course. And wow, it was so enlightening to me and it helped me. So now I look at the value of the dollar a little bit differently. Yes, money matters, but it's important to you, and the importance of the dollar varies. Money is crucial, and it's a basic need like food, shelter, health care. It can impact everything. So that is what is, we have to look at this time. I'm sorry, our special guest has arrived, and I'm just allowing him to come in. So, when we talk about that money matters, let's make sure that we are doing what we can do, to reducing the impact, because money can also cause you stress when you are not providing it, and there are opportunities but you're using it for the wrong thing and not really realizing that value of that dollar. And that is what is so important. It's not the sole determinant of happiness, fulfillment, but there are other factors involved: relationship, personal growth, contributing to society. All of that plays a vital role. And in today's economy, it is really vitally important that we definitely do that and look at it in that way. So, why money matters, meeting the basic needs of everybody should matter. Money is essential for requiring your basic needs every single day. You need those things met. You have to work for the money for it to come in for you to pay for those essentials. So, also reducing the stress and improving life satisfaction. Financial security can alleviate stress and improve your overall life satisfaction. So, make sure that you use that in your understanding. It provides a sense of security. Remember, there are so many bills that have to be paid. If you have a family, think about children. You're paying for daycare. You're paying for their lunches because that may not be provided. Reducing stress improves your life satisfaction. Think about how many times you may go to bed at night and you're laying there and things about money are ruminating over and over and over again. You want to reduce that stress. So make money work for you. And when Gary gets here, he's going to tell you a few basic principles to make money work for you. Money can open doors to better education, healthcare, and other opportunities that can enhance your quality of life. But money isn't everything. In today's society, we have this new generation, and what they want is they want it quick. So, a moment, I do apologize. Good morning, Gary. Welcome for
Morning.
joining us this morning. I was talking with them about the the importance of money. But Gary Moses is from First Horizons Bank, and Gary is the expert when it comes to the value of the dollar. And Gary is the one that's going to be doing the workshop for men only. You know, God holds men as the provider. And so Gary's going to do this workshop. It's from 6 to 8, as I said before. And he's going to go more into depth about the value of a dollar. So, Gary, I was going on about this new generation and the value of a dollar to them and how they want that quick fix. And, can you just talk about finance just briefly, because I don't want you to give away what you're going to talk about Friday night, about why the value of a dollar, and especially in today's economy, your relationship with money is important.
Well, that's first of all, can you hear me?
Yes.
Okay, so that's a good question. That's a good topic. When you look at the value of a dollar in today's society, we are what I like to call a lazy society. We've become a lazy society. What does that mean? That means we want everything at our fingertips. We want to be able to um, order um, our meal and it's delivered to our door. We can order a ride and they pick you up from the door. You can purchase a car and it's delivered to your door, right? Of course, everybody knows Amazon. So when you have a society that has become that way, and there is no the it almost cheapens the value of your money. Why? Because it's so easy to get rid of. It's so easy to spend. You can spend it faster than you earn it, and next thing you know, you've burned through $100 worth of Starbucks Frappuccinos, and you're like, "Where did my money go?" Well, come to me. I'll tell you exactly where your money went. But so our society has transformed us, and we haven't kept up with it. Not only have we not kept up with it as a people, but our education system does not feed into our children, our grandchildren any longer with this. There are now some mandates that have been put in forth, but those mandates, when you think about it, because they were put in forth this year, you won't see the fruits of that for 10 to 15 years from those kids, right? So it's incumbent upon us that know to deliver that message of good money management, and it's incumbent upon us that don't know and have been taught differently to go out there and educate yourselves, because at the end of the day, no one cares about you more than you. So think about that.
Oh, that's so good. You mentioned three things, essentials, excess, and easy. The three E's. And we have to learn what is essential to our basic needs and the excess. Are we excessive in spending? And you said easy. And I like, we want everything quick. We want that easy thing. DoorDash, Uber Eats, all of that. But look, you're paying double and sometimes triple for a product that you may be able to make yourself or go and get it. So thank you for that, Gary. When you talk about the seminar that you're doing, the Summit for Men is on money moves and power plays. So explain that. How does money move? Does money give you power to enlarge if you spend it wisely?
Well, I'm not going to say that money gives you power, but money gives you options,
Okay.
right? And you use the correct term, spending it wisely. So managing it wisely, spending it wisely, but more importantly, breaking a generational curse
Mm.
that tells you to be afraid of the bank, be afraid of the banker, be afraid of that institution that's going to take your money. That's not the case. I often see people come in there and said, you charged me for that overdraft. Well, first of all, I didn't overdraft your account. You overdrew your account, right?
Yeah.
So that's poor money management right there. And, I'm old enough to know the term writing the checks that you know what can't cash. Well,
Mhm.
that's exactly what that is. And that, all of this is to break that cycle. So it will empower you. It doesn't give you power, but it empowers you to do other things, to do the things that not only do you need to do, for example, paying your mortgage, that's a need, but doing the things you want to do, for example, going on a nice vacation, right? So there's wants versus needs. You don't need to go on that vacation to Europe. You want to go on that vacation to Europe. You would like to go and relax, right? But what you do need to do is keep the lights on in your home, keep the water on in your home, and keep food in your refrigerator. Those are needs.
Exactly. Thank you. Because, a lot of things, generational curses. If you had no foundation into the value of that dollar, then you know what? You had to learn that. And sometimes you can learn from the wrong sources out there. So I appreciate you saying that. And if you watch the spending that you grew up with, that should be all the more reason why you want to change that habit now so you don't have to rob Peter, as the old folks say, to pay Paul. And
Mhm.
that was it coming up. I grew up where, we were not privy and lavished in a lot of things that some of these kids have today. As a single parent, you mentioned something, Gary, and it was like me. I wrote that check and hoped that the money would beat the check to the bank, being a single
Mhm.
parent with three. And in today's society, I'm sure that the banks are doing things a little bit different. So you are right about, yes, you made that you overdraft that account, and that's important. When we look at the dollar as well, Gary, briefly, we also have to look at the taxes that come off of that dollar. And is it still 30% or has that risen?
You mean 30% as far as what you're paying the IRS?
Yeah, yeah.
That's gonna depend on how you file your taxes. You
Okay.
know, people constantly talk about how the wealthy don't pay taxes. That's because they take advantage of the tax code. They may end up paying no taxes. They may end up paying 5%. It's all about what you deduct, right?
Okay.
So your average tax could be 20%, 7%, 13%. All of that goes into how you file your taxes, how you keep your records, and again, how you manage your money.
Okay. And that's such good information. Navigating society now, navigating all of this now. What advice do you have for the man who has the family and he may have three or four children and he may be working two jobs and I can't afford to save? What advice would you have for him, Gary, in navigating today's society and trying to save and get ahead?
Okay, some of my advice is very simplistic. So
Okay.
the I would say put blinders on. Don't focus on what's around you. Drive past that house that's got the Mercedes in the driveway, and get to your own house, right? Do you have a vehicle that gets you from point A to point B? Yes. Is it enough today? Yes. Focus on the priority. What is the priority? And people get this twisted. What is the priority? The priority is you.
Hmm.
If you can't take care of you, how are you going to take care of that family, those three kids, and everything else? Right? So you take care of you. How do you do that? Well, knowledge. Knowledge is power. Knowledge gets you a better job, more money, things like that. So instead of having to work two and three jobs, maybe you invest in yourself early enough that now the knowledge allows you to get one six-figure job. And again, it's very simplistic, right? Allows you to get one six-figure job that you can now focus on yourself, focus on your family, and then focus on the things. But the biggest thing I would say is go through society, drive to and from where you need to be with blinders on. Don't look at what someone else has. Don't covet what they have. Be thankful for what you have, and increase what you have, humbly and with solid direction.
Such good information. We have always been that society, and some generations are keeping up with the Joneses. You know what? If they have it, that's their blessing. You cannot afford that, so don't try to keep up with the Joneses. And I like that information. Gary, there's one other question that I wanted to talk about. And you talked about getting the education. Well, there have been so many cuts with grants, with student loans, and things of that nature. What would you suggest that our younger, that generation, what would you suggest to them today as some of their hopes and dreams may look, nil, and I can't afford to go to college? Can they really afford to go? What would you suggest?
I would suggest, can they not afford to go?
Okay.
um,
Good
so
answer.
the thing is, with all the cuts that are taking place, those are government program cuts, right? So you have to do your homework. There's still scholarships out there, private scholarships, scholarships from schools that have massive endowment funds. Look, um, Phil Knight from Nike just donated $2 billion to the University of Oregon. That's
Wow.
private money, and this happened yesterday. That's
Wow.
private money going to an institution. What do you think they're going to do with that money? Well, number one, they're gonna push it into research for cancer. But number two, some of that money is going to end up in scholarships. So you have to be willing to do the work to write scholarships, to search for scholarships, write for scholarships, ingratiate yourself to people that know people. So don't cocoon yourself um, in the world of I can't. Find people in society that have done well and get a mentor or several mentors, right? So it can be done. You can navigate it. But if and for people that look like us, oftentimes we can't. They're holding us back. We can't.
Hmm. Hmm.
Well, that's the generational curse. We can't.
Exactly.
You know,
Excuses.
excuses. Yeah, if you look at my household, I have a master's degree. I have an MBA. My wife has a master's degree. My daughter has a master's degree, going for her second master's degree, and my
Yes.
son has a bachelor's, and he is now thinking about getting the master's degree. So the only thing that holds you back educationally is yourself. And every
Exactly.
time you excel educationally, you give yourself the opportunity to step through the door when it is open. People always pray, open the door, open the door, open the door. Suppose that door is open and you don't have the qualifications to step through the door.
That's right.
No
Thank you
one think
so
no one
much.
thinks about that. You have to
Yes.
have the qualifications to step through the door.
Gary, you mentioned something and it was so important. You mentioned excuses, and excuses are nothing but tools to build mountains of nothingness. My boys are alpha, so I heard them say that, and that's always stuck with me.
Mhm.
Also, I do a lot of couples and relationship counseling, and one thing I've found out in relationships, they're not on one accord with the finances. And
Mhm.
that should be something that they should sit down together, because usually you have a spender and you have a miser, but they need to be in the same lane when it comes, because money matters.
Yeah.
Have you sat down with people in the bank, and I know you do a lot of outside seminars, and you're well versed in this. Can you just give a brief synopsis on your findings with couples and finances?
Sure. That's one of the most difficult things. So there has to be a balance. You put it perfectly, the spender and the miser. So there has to be a balance. First of all, no one should be a full on spender, and no one should be a full on miser. You guys have to meet in the middle, somewhere to where everyone's needs are met. Number one. Number two, go into it. Um, uh, I guess with your eyes open and knowledgeable. For example, I often get young couples, not married, that want to open accounts with me, and my advice is no, don't do it. You're not married. You have no covenant. You have no nothing that binds you together. But you open this account together, one could take the money from the other and
Hmm.
abscond, and guess what? It's legal.
Hmm.
So you have to make good decisions in that vein, right? So the thing is, you need to be on the same page as to what you're wanting. You have to be open about what is it going to take. So if person A doesn't know what person B wants to do, how can they save together? How can they plan for the goals together, right? So you have to be open, and you have to be willing to sometimes be ultra conservative. And if you're ultra conservative, it allows you to be have the ability to do the things that you would like to do. So again, you don't necessarily have to pair somebody that's a spender and a miser. If you do, those two have to be willing to change more towards the center, because right now those two are outliers. They have to change more towards the center um, to really navigate this thing.
Wow, that's some great info, Gary. And I want to invite everybody out on Friday night, all the men. If you're women out there, you have a man, you're thinking about getting married, you're already married and you're stressed out with debt. Come out Friday night. There are ways to work around that debt. Gary is skilled and knowledgeable, educated in finances. Come out to the seminar, send those sons out. It is time for us to gain generational wealth
Mhm.
instead of to carry on the generational curses. So this is a time for you to find, yes, I can get out of this debt. Yes, money moves, power plays. I'm going to be on top. Make it happen. Don't blame it on this. Stop with the excuses. Stop. This is your time to really have a new endeavor, a new outlook on life. So, Gary, I want to thank you. I hope everybody will come out. It's on Eventbrite. It's also on Instagram. It's on my Facebook page, Lynn Kelly, Orlando, Florida. It is also, I'm going to try to put it on this page because it is so important. Everything is trying to be taken from us. We as a people had wealth before. We can regenerate and build that same wealth. So thank you so much, Gary. Do you have any final comments, Gary?
um, understand your understand your surroundings. Be
Yes.
aware, of your surroundings, and all that looks good is not good. Everyone that presents themselves as good is not good. The old saying is, don't hug everyone, because you don't know what spirit is going
Oh,
to
yes.
attach to you. So understand your surroundings, and to do that you have to understand yourself first.
Thank you so much. That was so good. So I'm ready for Friday night. It's going to be impactful, it's going to be educational, and it's going to get you where you finally want to be legally. You don't have to sell this and do that and run this and do that. Ask Gary. Gary's going to give you those power plays. Let money work for you. So thank you, Gary. We will see you Friday evening, 6 p.m., 3 Mask Incorporated, and there will be snacks and wine. The price is $35 per person, but that $35 is just a drop in the bucket for what you're going to learn and how it's going to get you out of that debt or teach you how to make money work for you. Until then, we want to thank you if you don't mind.